Ding, 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 ding. It is 10 o'clock on the west coast of the United States. It is 0500 GMT. Thank you for being here on cBas After Dark. It's Nerd News Monday, which is something I normally have on the screen, but it seems like the graphics program is a little bit wonky. There it is. All right, we'll see if we can do this here. Nerd News Monday begins on this Memorial Day, the 25th of May, 2015, with something I've discovered that I'm really excited about. We're doing robots. The whole first half of the show, robots on Nerd News Monday. I feel like that's appropriate. And the stories involving robots that we have coming up are as follows. The robotic janitor, robotic politicians, cognitive cooking with Chef Watson, the big IBM artificial intelligence, why you shouldn't be afraid of AI. That's an article I found this week that's really good. And of course, I think I'd mentioned the home robot janitor and the robot butt. So help me God, there's a robot butt out there. We'll get to that. First, I want to bring you just a little piece of fun that I found on YouTube. This is from YouTube, and boy, is it good. This is the Robot Politician, starring Kermit the Frog, Bunsen Honeydew, Beaker, and Peter Ustinov. That's who that is right there. So we'll enjoy this for the first couple of minutes. It's only 3 minutes long or so. If I can get it to play, which maybe I can, maybe I can't. I don't know. Hopefully this will work here because this is really goddamn funny. And we were talking about this in the Trekkie chat just before I went on the air. Literally, a robot politician. Would it be good? Would it be bad? I don't know. It might not be good, but let's see if we can't make it go here. Oh, good Lord. This Google software, by the way, has been giving me headaches. So before we do anything else involving robots, we need to make sure it's not running goddamn Google software. Let me go back to the control room and switch to the Muppet Show. Maybe we shouldn't watch it in full screen. That seems to be one of the issues I'm having. Here we go. Man, it's not playing. What's the freaking deal here? All right, here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to Control X that, and I'm going to try and paste it. Maybe this will be the magic that makes it flow. I don't know. What a weird night it's been. I got to tell you, my previous program, which is all about pot news, had the software crashing uncontrollably. And now it's completely, it's like my process. All right, here we go. Here we go. Oh, man.
Ladies and gentlemen, you are about to witness one of the wonders of modern science, as envisioned by the incredible Mr. Peter Ustinov. We take you now to Muppet Labs.
Hello, I'm Dr. Bunsen Honeydew, and here at Muppet Labs, we think we have finally made a major scientific breakthrough in the field of international statesmanship. So it is with incalculable pride that I give you the new robot politician. Yes, this electronic politician will end corruption in government forever. And furthermore, it is absolutely international. For instance, the robot politician would make an excellent British Prime Minister. Watch.
Although the skies are dark and the road ahead is steep, yet with perseverance we can, nay, we shall, prevail.
Thank you. And on the other hand, with equal ease, he could be an American president.
And I tell you, my friends, this is the greatest country in the world. Stands ready to forge ahead, bring peace to the world, offer arms to all nations.
Enough of that. How about a Russian premier?
The Russian people will not rub the SALT agreement into the wounds.
Oh dear.
for the People Republic of China objects to the running dog tone of this milestone.
China.
The Middle East bloc must stand firm in the belief ولا حد مننا علم العالم la France éternelle plus grand que l'italiano non posso più che non vuol più das deutsche Volk muss unter allen Umständen letztens vor.
Oh, shit.
Well, back to the drawing board. Mr. Ustinov?
A masterful performance.
Reminiscent of the late Rudolph Besser.
Rudolph Besser is dead?
No, he's late. He was supposed to be here at
Sadler, you always get me with that same dumb joke.
Well, maybe it's not the joke that's dumb, if you catch my drift.
Oh man, is that not tremendous? A little flash from the Muppet past there. I understand they're doing a new Muppet show, so it may be that we're going to see a new Muppet show in the next couple. I think I even really did see that. In fact, that makes me want to look it up. But later, we have more nerd news to bring to you here and more robot nerd news. For instance, this I saw from the Trekkie chat room. I had to exit out of the Trekkie chat in order to sort of make this show work because it seems like everything was really sluggish. In fact, it even seems like it's sluggish right now. So I'm trying to minimize my system usage here and trying to make it as efficient as possible. But let me show you the home robot cleaner. There it is. It's called the Nobot. This from the Daily Mail today in the UK. Let's see here. Is it from today's date? I didn't quite look at the date here. 22 May. So this is from like 3 days ago. $400 home robot that can be remotely controlled by cleaners and workmen. Cleaners and other professionals could use the robot to do chores remotely. Creators plan to set up an online marketplace where Worked can advertise. Operators will don a VR headset and motion tracking system. So it's not like an independent robot with artificial intelligence. But yeah, this article says ever since the Jetsons, right? We've wanted Rosie the robot. Rather than an automated machine doing your chores, though, God damn, this is slow. One Dublin firm believes humans will still be in control. They've created a remote-controlled robot which could act as a companion for the elderly or the lonely, I imagine. Like, I mean, why do you got to be elderly to have this puppy? I would rather have it. I live alone. Like, why not? I'll totally have this as my buddy. Let workmen fix problems, even clean your apartment. Hell, motherfucking yeah. Nobot on little wheels, on little like tractors, kind of like Johnny Five. I'm sad it only has the one arm. Maybe that's all it needs. Little camera eye in there. Called the N1H1 Nobot. It is described as a humanoid device remotely operated over IP, created to do your chores. We combine the robot unit. I wish that goddamn share selection thing would go away. I guess I need to stop double clicking. We combine the robot unit with a marketplace of operators, so every Nobot owner has a humanoid minion on tap. Maybe that's what I should do for my job. I should work as a robot control person on the other end of the thing. They're actually raising funds for this on Indiegogo. It hopes to release a range of robots that could carry out specialized tasks, acting as an electrician in a building, for instance. The core H1N1 unit is like someone dressed up as a robot, except they can be anywhere in the world, and the Nobot is right beside you or off doing an errand at your bidding. Never tidy the house again. I love that, pitch. Even if it doesn't end up being true, I love the pitch. Although most firms are developing AI robots, Nobot says its project is far more realistic. We've seen enough robot fail videos to know artificial intelligence ain't easy. We also figured there are perhaps a billion or more underutilized minds in the world that could be much more powerful than any AI ever made. Sure, they might not all become chess grandmaster, but in terms of common sense, the ability to learn quickly, the human mind takes some beating. So yeah, imagine instead of working at Comcast customer service or any of these other goddamn places I've applied for, I could go work at Nobot Central and control a robot to help people clean their apartment in a sort of like human control context. The firm also hopes to work with home appliance makers to allow the Nobot to control them. For instance, we intend to partner with household appliance and machinery manufacturers to make them Nobot ready. Nobot should be able to use your vacuum or drive your lawnmower. Holy shit, imagine that, robot doing your lawn. We also intend to partner with retailers so your Nobot can go and buy your latte or pick up your dry cleaning. Love it. Let's see the video. I started watching some of the video. The video is kind of campy, but let's actually let it play here. Like a person in a robot suit.
Bernie, the scientist, was working in his lab.
God damn this.
He had so much to do, it made him really sad. He thought and thought about what he was gonna do. Then, eureka, an idea came through. He would build a robot to help him with his work. A technotronic funky beat was a rhythm that she had. Robot dance, put you in a trance. Everybody's doing the robot dance.
Human over IP is what they're calling it. Fast-moving space, and our plan is to put a robust partner program so that Nobot will be available for all sorts of plant and machinery. We use off-the-shelf equipment, making upgrades inexpensive. As a Nobot owner, you can use our online marketplace to find operators for your jobs. What an idea! I mean, tell me what you think of that. Like, is this something that? Does it have a good shot? I mean, I feel like it's got a better shot than an AI robot would, right? Because I mean, it's sort of it's almost like the missing link step. You know what I'm saying? Like, this is not the missing link of evolution, but this is the missing link in robotics, where we have, you know, remote controlled things now. We have sort of the goal eventually of having it be artificially intelligent, but in between here and there is human controlled, remote controlled robots at a plant somewhere where you're in a thing and you know, did you ever see, I guess it was an episode of Black Mirror. It's a British TV show, Black Mirror, very much like the modern day Twilight Zone, or what if technology were just a little bit further, and they had a guy who was a digitally controlled animated character that ran for political office and won. Oh God, I almost wish I could play a piece of that here because you guys would really love it. Anyway, what about something medical? A way to help doctors learn to be doctors, a way to help, especially in the more tender functions of being a doctor. Something you want to make sure you have been able to practice before you actually lay your hands on a person. You want to be able to mess up on a dummy or on a robot. Let's say you're a doctor studying proctology. Yes, the study of the human ass. And you're going to go up there with, you want to be able to train on a mechanical ass first. Well, I give you the robot butt. Developed by Dr. Benjamin Locke, the cutting edge of rear search. This is actually from 2013, so this is not new. But I do love the story nonetheless. There it is, the robot butt. There's a physical apparatus here that is the butt, and it's attached to a monitor with a person bending over. Patrick. The researchers have invented Patrick, a virtual patient used to train medical students to do prostate exams. This is not The Onion, folks. Researchers have invented something truly remarkable. No ifs, ands, or buts. A robotic butt at that. The result is a plastic posterior hooked up to a video screen featuring a virtual male named Patrick bent over a desk. The derriere device is designed to train budding doctors how to give a prostate exam, according to Dr. Benjamin Locke, co-creator of the electronic hiney with Dr. Carla Pugh. In the experience, a student talks to a virtual person and is able to practice their communication skills. The mannequin is instrumented with force sensors that can measure where the student is examining and with how much pressure. This enables the system to provide a realistic encounter with a virtual patient, including communication and physical exam components. You want to have communication during this process. I've never had one of these examinations, but I imagine you want to have communication from stem to stern, if you will. The device even measures eye contact between the medical student and the virtual patient. All right, stop right there. Stop. stop, timeout. Eye contact. All right, as we saw in the picture, the patient is bent over. How do you maintain eye contact? Is it eye contact from behind? I mean, is it eye contact before the bending over? Exactly how does this measure eye contact? I don't know. I don't think this article actually answers that, but I think it's a valid question. Like, okay, eye contact, seriously? Exactly in what way? Not that that's a bad thing, but seriously, eye contact. It's endowed also with sensors that alert the student when he or she is poking and prodding too hard. Important. It can also register the thoroughness of the exam. So that would be like sort of too soft if you're not prodding hard enough or probing hard enough. Patrick is in use at Drexel University in Philadelphia. Hello to my friends watching in Pennsylvania. I believe there's at least one of you. And at the University of Florida, they hope to use the rear search to help improve virtual humans for other types of touchy situations. This isn't the first time virtual technology has been used to get to the bottom of the butt. In 2012, they created Shiri, a little too close to Siri for my taste. This is a robotic rump that can react to a user's touch, stroke, or slap, and can twitch or tense up on its own. There's the duck-shaped potato. God, you got to love the Huffington Post sometimes. All right, I want to do two things. I want to go to YouTube and see if there is a video of that in operation. And I want to look up Shiri as well, the Japanese one. Not that I necessarily want to see pictures, but I kind of do. Let's look at Google here. Shiri. I sure wish I knew why my system was so goddamn slow. Happy birthday, Sally Ride, by the way. I see her 64th birthday being celebrated on the Google Doodle, but Google is not responding. No, this is one kind of fucking weird night on my Google software. So if you need to tune out, if the broadcast is becoming unwatchable, believe me, I understand. Tonight of all nights, this is not something I'm excited about or happy about. It's been doing this all goddamn night. I clearly have something wrong. Let's look at robots. But oh, I see. My keyboard is not typing. Oh, no, there it goes. There it goes. There it goes. It's just slow. Sometimes my keyboard actually stops operating, and it's very, very annoying. I wish I had a robot butt to practice on. Oh, God, that sounded awful. I retract that right now. Having said that, oh, I just wish I could put that right away and pretend like I never said it. Oh, Lord, look at it. Okay. Well... We've come this far. Do I click on it? This is from Newsy Tech, the user account Newsy Tech. I'm sure this is very journalistic in nature. This is not pornographic in any way. Can clench, twitch, confuse. All right, let's just see. You're with me on this journey, friends. I swear to God, I'm as uncomfortable as you are at this moment. But let's just see if we can't make this play. YouTube again is sluggish, and I don't know if this is going to work, but. This is not the one we saw in this Huffington Post article. That's called Patrick. When I just typed in robot butt, what came up is the Japanese one. So, I don't know. Let's go, people. Let's go, Christina Hartman. I want to see the robot butt clenching, twitching, and confusing doctors of all ages. If we can. Maybe I'll let that percolate for a minute, if you will. But again, here's the photograph of the one that's apparently in use in Pennsylvania and Florida. We don't need to look at that picture. It really makes me very uncomfortable. But, I mean, again, I like that doctors have this to practice on. It feels like, you know, that's only going to be a good thing. Sort of like having the dummy to practice CPR or experiencing interruptions. Find out why. Why the hell not? This is not how the show usually goes, quite frankly, but I'm about to give it up. Oh, I see. We might have problems. Like your video consumption and streaming quality. That does not help me at all. This is obviously a problem with my system here. Anyway, that's the robot butler / janitor. That's the robot ass. That's the robot politician, starring Peter Ustinov on The Muppet Show. We've got the video to play here. Let's just flip over to it and see if we can enjoy this.
It's robotic, and it's from Japan. Prepare to be skeeved out. Say hello to
Prepare to
Shiri,
be
a
skeeved
robotic
out?
bot from
Okay.
the University of Electrocommunications. It can twitch and tense up using its artificial muscles.
Oh, there it is.
Responds differently to
Twitching.
being poked, caressed, or slapped. The Robotics researchers say the Shiri project has two goals: to use technology in an innovative way and to explore the emotional interactions between humans and robots. Weird, but as far as the first one goes, Popular Science says it's actually pretty cool.
Okay,
The
wait,
facial
so it's...
posterior is comprised of a silicone skin and a rigid urethane skeleton in a full-scale size. Mostly, it looks like each cheek is a little red airbag with modulating pressure.
I'm sorry. I'm pausing it for a second. That suggested that this is not a prostate exam training material. This is just a butt so people can have a robot butt that flexes. Like, that is to... What was it about robotic interaction between humans and robots? What the fuck? Like, holy shit. I think I've researched this show. I think I've planned out what I'm going to talk about, and I have it in my head, and I have it written down, and then I get surprised by a little tidbit like that, which I sort of did not expect. Okay, going back to it, because I gotta hear that again. The way they phrased that suggested this is not a teaching doctors to do prostate exams. This is a robot butt for the purpose of slapping it and seeing how it twitches. Like, what the fuck? Okay, wait. Let's listen again. Oh, man, come on. Seriously? Dude. All right, not cool. Is it going to play? Please?
Being poked, caressed, or slapped. The Robotics researchers say the Shiri project has two goals. To use technology in an innovative way and to explore the emotional interactions between humans and robots. Weird, but as far as the first one goes, Popular Science says it's actually pretty cool. The artificial posterior is comprised of a silicone skin and a rigid urethane skeleton in a full-scale size. Mostly, it looks like each cheek is a little red airbag with modulating pressure that gives it its reaction. As for that second goal, the researchers said they want to explore how people feel as they communicate with Shiri. It should be easy to get a reaction when you consider how creepy this thing is. Time has that one pretty well figured out. For example, when poked, the robot can quiver in fear. Rub it and it will protrude, which is supposed to signify happiness, although all you'll be feeling is deep shame. Shiri, which means buttocks in Japanese, isn't the first bizarre robot to come out of this lab. Discovery News says these researchers have a track record. In a move that should surprise absolutely no one, Shiri was built by none other than Nobuhiro Takahashi and his team. If you recall, Takahashi was responsible for the equally creepy KISS transmitter device that lets people make out over the internet. I'm no mathematician.
Everybody can put two and two together. I got to see the end of this report. I'm sorry.
But I can put two and two together. And of course, the internet being what it is, there had to be jokes. Here are a few from the big tech blog.
Why not?
Time went with the pop culture reference. Professor Mix-a-Lot could not be reached for comment. A pun. Boy, sometimes science sure is cheeky.
That's lame.
IO9, well, this one got downright philosophical. For what good is sentience if one cannot feel? And what good is feeling if one cannot feel it upon one's ass cheeks? But on a serious note, I've got nothing. For Newsy, I'm Christina Hartman.
All right. This Newsy website really irritates me at times. Like, they're really kind of assholes in a very serious way, or just retards in another kind of way. And that actually is offensive to people with mental retardation, so that's not even cool. They're worse than that at Newsy. But that was quite a story. Like, this is not for prostate exam training. This is a butt created by the guy who did... I mean, if you ever watched The Big Bang Theory, there was a scene where the KISS transmitter thing, it's literally like a thing you stick your tongue into and kiss, and it I guess has gel or whatever in there to respond in the way that a mouth would respond that you were kissing. And it sends the pattern of the gel or the sand or whatever is in there to another exactly identical device that lets you sort of do it in real time. If you ever saw The Big Bang Theory, you know that Raj and Howard did it just practicing, and it was sort of obviously homoerotic in a very funny way, and yet sort of strangely innocent because they weren't kissing each other. They were kissing these robot things that... I don't know. So, okay, that's the guy who created it. But again, what's the reason? like, I love robots, and I mean, I'm a homo, right? I could totally get into a robotic ass for a million reasons, but I'm trying to wrap my brain around why. Just why? Like, okay. To explore how humans and robots interact, well, that's more like a simulation of how humans interact with humans, so I'm not sure there's roboticness in there. I don't know. My mind is absolutely blown in a way that I'm a little embarrassed about, frankly, because I mean, I came into this show specifically prepared to bring you the prostate exam training butt. Like the thing a doctor in training sticks his finger into, and they tell it if it's going too hard or too light or too soft or too whatever. That other robotic butt that appears to have no medical function absolutely creeps me the living fuck out of my skin, and I don't even know where to go from here. Like, that is absolutely mind-boggling. All right. In case you're just joining us, it's a wild Nerd News Monday here. I'm going to put my phone number on the screen in the event you want to call in. Nobody ever does. Some people have. My buddy Joe in Hawaii called in once answering a question that I had thrown out there and didn't know the answer to off the top of my head. A guy from Texas once called. Actually, I think I've had a couple people call from Texas. So, I mean, you know, you can call it. This is the phone number, 310-776-COONS. That's 310-776-5869. You can also text that phone number. It's just right here. My silly-ass curved cell phone. Have you seen the curved cell phone, by the way? Everybody seems to think it's a big deal. It's curved. Whatever. It turns out to be not that interesting of a function at all. It's just a little bit of, I guess it's a little stronger in case you drop it, curved glass, but it doesn't really change anything about the experience whatsoever. And you can tweet me at Sebastian Kuntz on Twitter. Okay, I got to reorient myself here and figure out where we're going next, because, I mean, we had some fun with robots, and I didn't mean for that to be the entire show, and we will move forward with other nerd news. One more sort of robotic-related story I wanted to bring was about not fearing artificial intelligence. There was a great sort of op-ed that I felt like was worth looking at. I guess it was Huffington Post that had it. For some reason, I didn't think that was it either. Oh, I know, because it's not a person with the Huffington Post. This is Peter Diamandis, the chairman and CEO of X Prize. If you know X Prize it's that organization. What is X Prize exactly? Off the top of my head, I can't quite remember what X Prize is. Let's just do a quick Google of X Prize and see what that is. It's the one, yeah, that's right. They wanted to actually create, it's a nonprofit organization manages public competitions designed to make people invent. There was one that was a tricorder, and there are other ones as well. The X Prize Foundation is here, and they sort of give big prizes to people who can invent things. That's right. Okay. So the guy who is the CEO of X Prize, chairman and CEO, wrote an op-ed 5 days ago, Why I Don't Fear Artificial Intelligence. I don't know what robot that is. That one is a little bit creepy as well. And if you watched last week, we saw a little bit of Asimo from the folks at Honda as well. Artificial intelligence is the most important technology we're developing this decade. Massive opportunity, not a threat. What is AI? Broadly, AI is the ability of a computer to understand your question, search its memory banks, and give you the most accurate answer. It's the ability of a computer to process a vast amount of information. I mean, again, reading this is not that interesting, but I sort of just wanted to go through it briefly. Siri, they say, qualifies. IBM's Watson supercomputer qualifies. Watson made headlines. You remember when the computer was on Jeopardy and won? Now it's helping doctors treat cancer patients by processing massive amounts of clinical data and cross-referencing thousands of individual cancer cases and medical outcomes. Of course, we all know about Siri. Some of us like it, some of us don't. I love Siri because Siri understands every freaking word I say. Something about my accent, and I guess maybe the radio broadcaster in me that speaks as extra clearly compared to, I guess, average people. But there's nothing I say that Siri doesn't understand. In fact, here's my favorite Siri trick. I'll just show you really fast. You'll love it. Let me make sure the sound is on. Siri, what's my name? Come on, Siri. Sometimes when I'm touching the antenna wrong, it won't go. Yeah, way to make a fucking liar out of me, Siri. Thank you very much.
I'm really sorry about this.
Yeah, you're sorry about this. You're not half as sorry as me. What's my name? One more try, and then I'll give up. I swear to God I will. Just put it on the table. Sometimes if you just put it on the table and stop touching it, it works best. Anyway, remember when Raj had Siri call him sexy?
I don't know who you are, but you can tell me. In Siri settings.
Siri forgot who I am. All right, not only did Siri make a liar out of me, it doesn't know who I am. Are you kidding? What's my name? I've totally...
You're Sebastian. But since we are friends, I get to call you sexy motherfucker.
I love hearing Siri swear. If you missed it, this is what the response was. You're Sebastian, but since we're friends, I get to call you sexy motherfucker. Now, Siri can do that. One of my favorite things about Siri is that unlike the folks at iPhone autocorrect, where they seem to have deliberately deleted the cuss words, the swear words, the profanities, if you type in fuck, it comes out duck, unless you go through these very rather annoying procedures to teach it the swear words. The best way I learned to do it was put a fake contact in your contacts list, because Siri knows all the people in your contacts list. So if you put in somebody who's named shit, fuck, then all of a sudden it knows the words shit and fuck. But the other thing you can do is say, bing, bing, call me sexy, ding, ding. And it's like, all right, you want me to call you sexy? Ding, ding. And then you confirm it. Yes, ding. And it says, okay, we'll call you sexy. That's what Raj did in The Big Bang Theory. I took it one step further. And then the entire year I spent in Mexico teaching English, whenever my students would ask me about English swear words, and let's face it, when you're learning a new language, everybody's first thing they want to know at a certain point becomes swear words, profanities. How do you swear? What do swear words mean? You know, many swear words don't have an exact translation, but there's certain categories of them. Bodily functions, you know, insults, that kind of shit. And whenever I would do that, most of my students were more advanced students who had heard words like motherfucker before. So when I would go, ding, ding, what's my name, Siri? Ding, ding, you're Sebastian, but I call you sexy motherfucker. And it's like, they all really laugh at that. So I had kind of a captive audience, and I was the best English teacher ever in Mexico, believe me, for reasons like that. All right. That article talked about Watson, the computer Watson. Let me pull up a picture of Watson, because there's a new thing Watson is doing. That article said it won Jeopardy, and then it went on to say that Watson is doing cancer research, which is respectable and fascinating in its own way. Let's go to images.google.com, because if I remember right, I mean, I guess the pictures we will see come from, come on, X Prize. Go away. I want to see images.google.com. Maybe if I close the robot butt article and the why I don't fear artificial intelligence article, and I mean, I didn't even get very far into that. Come on, images. And let's just type in Watson. I want to see if the pictures of Watson look like the computer unit that was on Jeopardy. That's Dr. Watson, I guess. Okay, here we go. IBM's Watson. I guess it's just a bank of, you know, machines with that little globe and eyelashes logo on it. I cannot believe how slow this stuff is. So my apologies once again. Okay, there's the picture I was talking about. The one in Jeopardy where you see it on the right. I'm trying to click on it and it's going real slow. But it's just, I mean, it looks like what you'd think. It doesn't look like a robot or anything interesting. It's a bank of computers. In this case, it was just pretty much a display. And it beat those other two people. I mean, you have to wonder if that was really a fair competition. When it's three humans, you get the sense that it's a fair competition. But I guess Watson actually, according to Wikipedia, looks more like that. Just a big block of server computer type thing. But this is the new thing Watson is doing. Culinary ideas. IBM's futuristic foodie robot. This is a dish here designed with a computer. Austrian chocolate burritos. I already hate the sound of that, with edamame and apricots. Gross. I don't like fancy food in the first place. I'm much more of a fast food, junk food kind of guy, which is why on Saturdays I do the fast food, junk food podcast. But The IBM computer system known as Watson has taken up a hobby, cooking. For the past 3 years, the system's keepers have fed it a steady diet of cookbooks and food theory. They're trying to train a machine which can't even taste to understand what makes a good recipe. Recently, Watson got so pro that along with chefs from the Institute of Culinary Education in New York, it published a cookbook, an eccentric 231-page tome crowded with what its creators call recipes for innovation, a weird beef burrito accented with chocolate and edamame, a risotto studded with candied ginger. That doesn't sound too bad. A pumpkin ricotta cheesecake. Ew. Nah, I don't know if I would like that or not. With savory mushroom meringues. Okay, this is like really, somebody hacked that computer, it sounds like. None of that shit sounds good at all to me. And they're calling it creativity. Watson amplifies human creativity, said Steve Abrams, an IBM engineer who worked on Chef Watson. It's a collaboration that allows Watson and the chef to discover more than either of them could independently. Is this a video? Let's watch this video. Cognitive Cooking with Chef Watson. A cookbook that is the result of IBM's 3-year collaboration with the Institute of Culinary Education to pair the recipe expertise of world-class chefs, who I hate universally anyway, with the cognitive power of Watson. We're going to see an ad, so I'm going to mute it. Oh, wait. Is that ad going to just skip over, maybe? Please? My personal adventures with Watson began, as so many kitchen adventures do, with some overlooked frostbitten produce I needed to use. Home cooks don't have access to quite the same version of Chef Watson that the Institute of Culinary Education did, but IBM, in partnership with Bon Appetit magazine, has released a slightly less robust web app that basically uses the same technology. Oh, I didn't know that. You input your ingredients and preferences, a dessert with corn and sugar, I said. Watson generates pairing suggestions, pumpkin puree, medjool dates, horseradish. From there, you can add and subtract ingredients, cuisines, and dishes from Watson's list until the system generates a satisfactory recipe template. Watson's complicated, so it's hard to explain exactly what the site is doing when it makes its recommendations. No shit. But in the most basic terms, Watson ingests a huge amount of unstructured data. Recipes, books, academic studies, tweets, and analyzes it for patterns the human eye wouldn't detect. To create the web app for home cooks, IBM researchers input nearly 10,000 recipes from Bon Appetit magazine. To make this professional version of Chef Watson, researchers went further, 30,000 plus recipes scraped from the internet, spreadsheets on the molecular makeup of different flavor and odor compounds in food. Wow. And academic research into the smells and tastes that people find most pleasurable. An obscure field known as hedonic psychophysics. What the fuck? Much of that information is too technical, too literally microscopic to register on most chefs' radar. Did you know, for instance, that white wine and tomatoes share the chemical compound hexanol? I did not know that because I don't drink wine. As Watson crawls the recipe log, it calculates which foods appear in recipes together and the statistical frequency of each match. It plots chemical affinities on a complex computational knowledge graph. Corn, Watson decided, pairs pretty well with berries. Using the Watson app, I ended up with a recipe for corn wedding tarts, adapted from a more conventional version with rhubarb and phyllo dough pastry. Asked for Spanish ingredients, Watson suggested pepper, saffron, coconut milk, lemon extract, and honey. Later, Chef Jeff Briscione turned to Watson for inspiration for a Creole spice dumpling. The system spit out okra, tomatoes, lamb, and shrimp, among other things. If you look at the list of ingredients, it's just gumbo, he said, but I never would have thought to condense gumbo and put it in a dumpling like that. It's such a collaboration between you and the man in the machine. It's more like a cerebral take on Chopped on the Food Network, which this guy has won twice. My corn wedding tart, okay, so he made them. My corn wedding tarts are interesting. Not interesting in quite the same way as the chocolate beef burrito, gross, but it's also thankfully not interesting in the same way as the mushroom-flavored whipped cream, gross, that otherwise topped an otherwise excellent cheesecake. We fed that to our dog who thought it was great. Instead, the corn tarts are just benignly peculiar. Crooked rectangles of pie crust, topped with a sticky mound of corn and ginger and a strawberry jam glaze. Strawberries and corn, it turns out, contain high concentrations of furanol, which is why this combination, against all odds, approaches okay. So I guess what? If you have different ingredients that contain high concentrations of the same organic compound, like furanol or what that other one was above. What was it? Hexanol with white wine and tomatoes. I mean, is that supposedly what makes it good, or at least okay? Still, I find myself wondering why Watson didn't suggest a corn panna cotta with strawberry sauce, or maybe a sweet corn ice cream. In the introduction to their cookbook, the tech heads at IBM expound at length on cognitive computing. They say that rivals human creativity. I suppose that's arguable, because I don't like much of the creative, quote-unquote, creative foods that sorry-ass fancy chefs make also. Alas, all the engineering advances in the world haven't taught Watson that mixing corn and jam creates a sticky, mottled goop, or that said goop doesn't make for appropriate wedding food. So yeah, it's getting better all the time, both as a chef and a machine. The cookbook's not the end of the road. IBM says they're researching applications for use by the food and beverage industries. All of this is a sideshow, of course. I mean, I think they're working hard to not humanize Watson. You know, I mean, it's not a robot. It's just an artificially intelligent computer system is the idea, I guess. But they're working on ways of making it more interesting to non-computer scientists, right? So in a humanized, you know, sort of relevant to humans, or whatever I guess you want to say. I don't know. I crunch my way through a slice of corn wedding tart, secure that such a day is still pretty far off when Watson could replace actual human chefs or human ingenuity. As long as Watson is pairing frozen corn and jam, we humans still have a shot, says this author with the Washington Post. The author, by the way, just in full credit style, is Caitlin Dewey. I've never liked fancy food. I mean, I feel like this little portion with this drizzle of shit across the plate. I mean, I'd rather have a hamburger with a pile of French fries any day of the week. Absolutely, positively. I guess you could argue that means I have an unsophisticated palate or whatever, but I don't know. I mean, I like what I like. I don't like what I don't like. And frankly, I don't know. I guess you could say my food taste probably lean toward the stoner. That's why I like the fast food. That's why I like the junk food. That's why all I drink is delicious soda. Not alcohol or anything you have to develop a taste for. That's one of my rules, by the way. Anything you have to learn to like or develop a taste for is automatically off the table. Get it away from me and get it off my plate, because if I have to learn to like it, guess what? That means you don't like it, asshole. And, you know, most people disagree with me. Most people have a food or something that they learned to like, whether it's an alcohol variation or a delicacy. That's the other thing, is the word delicacy is also a red flag in my opinion, because, oh yes, pig's feet, they're a delicacy. Or, you know, monkey brains. Yes, it's a delicacy served in India, whatever the hell. I mean, like, whatever. I don't give a shit what kind of fancy culinary term you use. If it's something I have to learn to like, I don't like it. Okay, that's just sort of simple logic in my mind. cBas After Dark. It is Memorial Day in the United States for another hour and 15 minutes, I should say, on the West Coast. And this wasn't just going to be an all robot hour, but it kind of, you know what I want to do? And I did this last week. If you saw it last week, I apologize. I want to see Osimo. Let's look up Osimo, because if you missed it, no edition of the nerd news about robots is complete without talking about Osimo. But I want to see this video from Osimo. In fact, let's look at this one. This is not a video we watched last week from the folks at Auto Express. This is that little, it looks like an astronaut because of the little weird faceplate. And I want to turn the annotations off. But this is the penalty-taking bartending robot. Okay. So, yeah.
Jump anywhere with parrot jumping sumo.
This is actually an ad. That looks cool.
Roll and fly anywhere with parrot rolling spider.
Holy shit, seriously? I don't usually let ads play, but that looks badass. I would like to have that toy. All right. Let's skip the ad, though.
I've come to Honda's technical studio in Brussels to meet one of their most important representatives, although I'm not quite sure who it is yet. Turns out, who I was about to meet wasn't actually a human, but a robot. Honda's famous humanoid robot, Asimo.
Asimo, as they say in Australia.
Asimo has been designed to interact with humans, so if you reach out your hand, it will shake it. Sensors in its palm detect your touch, while cameras in its head track your movements. Asimo's stabilization technology enables it to react if you upset its balance, moving backwards mid-shake if you push it, or stepping in if you pull it towards you.
Thank you very much.
This latest version of Asimo is the product of almost 3 decades of development. It all started back in 1986 when Honda built a robot which could walk, albeit very slowly and clumsily.
Yeah.
In 1988, it was developed to walk more like a human being, and in 1993, a torso was added. By 1996, Honda's robot had become intimidatingly large, so in 1997, it was shrunk to a less threatening size, thankfully, before being made autonomous. In 2000, Honda unveiled Asimo, which stands for Advanced Step in Innovative Mobility. Standing 130 centimeters tall, which is the same height as a seated adult, is the perfect size for helping out around the home. Over the years, Asimo has been constantly developed, and it's now mobile enough to play sports. However, it's wise to warm up before any physical exercise, even if you're a robot. And as well as run at 6 miles an hour, Asimo can walk backwards and hop.
You gotta love that, right? You can hop, you can run.
You can also kick a ball, so time for a quick robot versus human penalty shootout.
Wow.
That's 1-0 to the Autobots. It's Asimo as good at saving a shot as it is at taking one.
You almost want to think that there's a person in there doing that.
Looks like Honda hasn't trained Asimo to be a goalkeeper just yet.
Oh no! I guess that's the I've lost gesture.
Football is thirsty work,
or
but
posture.
Asimo can get you some refreshments. With hands that have 13 degrees of freedom, it's able to perform delicate tasks, such as opening a bottle and pouring a drink. This may be unremarkable for a human, but it's an incredible achievement for a robot.
Notice how it did that in 2 steps? A careful pour at the beginning and then kind of a dumping at the end there? I expected it to bring it over to him.
In total, Asimo has 57 degrees of freedom, and this allows it to dance, while its 52-volt battery can keep it going for 40
So it's like
minutes.
following his motions there, I guess?
It has better moves than some humans. Anyway, enough of that.
Yeah, enough of that. Also, I noticed, do you notice when you see the little eyes on Asimo? Asimo, now I'm saying it like the Australian people. One of the things about it, and maybe I should watch that first video again too, is that it seemed like it was like more of like an astronaut front screen. In other words, it was tinted. That front window was tinted and you couldn't see those eyes in there, and that was a little bit creepy. And the way they made it smaller to reduce the kind of imposingness of it, look, it's much more of a tinted front faceplate in this video. This is less of a goofy video and more of an actual testing or demonstration of its capabilities. The problem is you are now looking at me again, so sorry, hold on 2 seconds and I'll get the video back on. Maybe more than 2 seconds. Here we go. 3, 2, 1. Please follow me. Oh yeah, it moves out of the way. Probably ought to say excuse me too.
ホットコーヒーお願いします。
大原さん、ウーロン茶ですね。おばさん、コーヒーですね。アリーズンさん、ミルクティーですね。
So it understood when they spoke all at the same time. And I like that little gesture indicating it's your turn to talk. Like, tell me. Fetches the drinks in a specially created tray, it looks like. Decides what to do without human control. You gotta love that. I love that. I don't know. People might think it's creepy.
We were allowed to film their top secret robotics laboratory. Japan is a worldwide leader in the development of humanoid robots.
So let's fast forward just a little bit here.
For the past 16 years.
From the beginning, we wanted to.
Okay, I'm looking back, and you can actually see the eyes again. So maybe I was wrong about that.
To realize that dream, we're constantly asking ourselves, what kind of robot would be able to change society, make people happy, and make life easier for people around the world? Our idea is to create a robot that will change how people live. We're working through the technological issues, one by one, in order to reach that goal.
And they've been doing it for
Asimo's advanced physical capabilities are revolutionary.
Decades. Running on a treadmill, you gotta love that. All right, this is the other video I want to see. World's top 3 humanoid robots. It's not just Asimo. HPR4 and NAO. This is 9 minutes. We don't have time for the whole thing, but we'll watch just enough of it. Motherfucker.
I thought it was amazing.
Sorry, that happened again. Every time I try to go full screen, it kicks it back to me. Maybe that's not an accident. Maybe it doesn't want me to be able to go full screen, but I've done it before.
See it this close and how fluid it is?
3, 2, 1.
I felt almost an emotional connection with it. Almost immediately, I could see how, humans could definitely get attached on that level. I thought it was a wonderful piece of technology. The advancements have only seemed to go further from the original. Just the capability of them is outstanding. For a minute there, like you just...
Okay, so there's Asimo.
I think everybody should have
Go Honda. Those folks at Honda really have it going on with Asimo. Here's the other one. One of the other ones. Sounds really loud compared to Asimo, but... And it's also taller and kind of scarier. Oh, they even teach it to bow in Japan.
可動範囲を示す体操動作と7自由度ある腕の動きを示す動作、拡張された PC を搭載した。
Let's go ahead and fast forward just a bit. And of course, there's no Japanese translation here, so I don't know.
Yes, you might.
Oh, I see. Here we go. It's like doing tricks now. Stupid robot tricks on David Letterman. Seems like they're taking forever. Now, here's the other one. Okay. Let's go back and see. Why do they always have to make them dance first? Like, can't we just have it lifting things? Or
as I explained, this is a new version of the robot. It's a new version that we released last month with improvement requested asked by some of our customers. For instance, we have longer arms, we have curved arms because customer wanted to have a larger working space. So this is how we designed this robot. So in this version, we improved the quality of the robot in terms of robustness. We improved the motion engine, having a much smoother walking, reliable, and able to work on small obstacles without falling down.
Something else. May I?
No, keep quiet. After that, in terms of software,
okay, the little temper tantrum robot I can live without.
The robot is able to recognize your face once it has learned it. Picture recognition, image recognition, or this kind of things that help turning him more interactive. You can see that. So very clear expression. But I want him to stop making noise during my speech.
Someone please switch on the light. I promise. I'll be quiet now.
So if we really want to be able to...
All right, that was mildly clever. I like seeing the robot that could laugh. I don't know. I mean, the little temper tantrum thing, I think it was probably programmed to do that so that we could see, you know, all of that stuff is going to be, you know, well scripted and well planned out probably. But I feel like, I don't like the one that's too tall. It's an interesting how... It kind of feels like that Osimo was a little bit on the small side, but then you see one that's human height, 6 feet tall or whatever, and it's like, oh, I don't like that. That's too kind of big. You want it to be a little smaller than you. You want it to be your R2-D2 friend, you know. And then this little one's almost more like a toy, where it's like, someone please turn on the lights or whatever that one did. Last but not least, just to wrap things up, I mean, this is kind of really unrelated to anything. I decided tonight, before I went on the air, that this should be What If Week. And the whole thing with robots itself was kind of a what if thing. But, like, I decided, because I've been having disagreements with lots of people about lots of different things, what if? I decided to try and... I don't know if I'm doing this enough, so I'm going to try and think to myself, what if, say, Tom Brady... didn't deflate those balls. All right. I don't give a shit about football either way. I believe it's sort of probably mostly cheating in the first place. So for Tom Brady to have not done it this time doesn't mean that it's not mostly cheating the rest of the time. I do believe that there's a thing. I've said this about the WWE for many, many years. It's probably the only actually honest sport for the specific reason that they nudge and wink and are aware of the fact that, yeah, the outcome is preordained. We know what's going to happen in the writer's room, and it's for a show. It's a comic book. The comic book is pre-written. You know what's going to happen at the end of the comic book when you're in the writer's room or when you're the creator of it. So, of course, the people... Now, it's not to say wrestling is fake, because it's a coordinated series of stunts by stuntmen and characters who are doing... you know, very physical things, and people do get hurt. I was in enough Mexican lucha libre wrestling rings, not in the ring, me, but I watched enough wrestlers in those Mexican wrestling rings to know that people do sometimes get hauled away in ambulances for real. So, you know, I just feel like the other sports, the NBA, the MLB, the NFL, are the ones who are really lying, because, you know, when little cheating scandals like this come out. But what if I'm wrong? Okay, what if? We're doing What If Week. So, I mean, I still don't give a shit. I mean, I feel like for people, anybody with any real sense about them would be more interested in playing the sport rather than watching somebody else do it. I can't fathom watching other people play video games on, you know, Twitch either. So I guess that's really the beginning and end of what if theorizing on my part. But I'm trying actively to consider points of view I distinctly don't believe and try to extend it to some sort of real life lesson, or, you know, try to make sure I'm not being too angry or too closed off in my thinking. I'm trying to do legitimate what-if thinking here. I'm not going to necessarily succeed at it all the time. And perhaps the NFL Deflategate scandal is not a good place to have started because I don't give a shit either way. I don't have a horse in the race. So whether or not they deflated those balls or not, I don't give a fuck. I mean, it's cheating in my eyes in the first place. So, the fact that a cheating example was finally exposed is inconsequential. I'm working on it. I'll develop more of this tomorrow and try and consider more things that I firmly believe with a fist-pounding severity and try to correct them or try to teach my brain to consider what if it's not like that? What if? What if? So it's What If Week here on cBas After Dark, and the robots were a good start, though. Wasn't that fun? All right. Join me tomorrow night. Tomorrow's Game Show Tuesday, so it's kind of, again, something that doesn't necessarily lend itself to what if, but we'll try and do some what if stuff. I know what we'll do. We'll do pilots that didn't take off, pilots for game shows that never made it, because that's a good what if thing. What if this game show? What if David Letterman had really hosted the Riddlers? I've shown the Riddlers pilot on here before, but we'll play a clip of it. Just what you want to see, we just had David Letterman retire. David Letterman hosted a pilot of a game show in the mid-'70s. That'll blow your mind if you haven't seen this before. It's really good, and it should have become a game show, except I don't think they could maintain the level of writing, the quality of writing. All right, well, I'm over my time. Make it a great Tuesday. Make it a great Monday night, if it's still Monday night where you are. Join me in 23 hours at 10 o'clock p.m. on the West Coast, 0500 GMT for cBas After Dark.